Boom! Welcome back to the channel, my beautiful engineers. It's so good to see you here today, and this is a great one we've got coming for you. Roll it! All right. Why are some developers more valuable than others? So often this question is one of those behind the scenes, everyone's thinking it, no one really says it. Perhaps you've surrounded yourself with a fine group of folks, everyone's got about the same experience, everyone's kind of working around the same languages on similar projects, maybe you're even collaborating with these people more directly, and then boom, someone's able to just close that contract or go work for a company at a factor maybe of 10 to a salary or whatever income that everyone else is making. What there happened? Okay. One, most likely, and this is so simple, ask the right questions. Stop with the lower value quantitative questioning. Things like, when does it due? What does the UI look like? Naturally, these questions will come up in the dialogue. Of course, it's just part of scoping out any project. Start with the qualitative questions that get right to the purpose of the project. Why is this project important? Is this the right project to build? Is this really going to solve the need? Digging a little deeper again, looking for the needs. How do you know this is the right thing to build? Do you believe that's true? And these are just some examples, okay? The point is that they're really driving towards the purpose. They're showing that that higher level and that lower level are both kind of playing in unison to figure out some core needs for this project, maybe some core pain points, put it all together into a solution that works for the client, right? This is something that can be charged a lot more for. It's expertise that really is just going to jump you up to the next one. Of course, all these questions are going to come out. What does the UI look like? What's your budget? We know this. Start with some qualitative stuff. Oftentimes, we say just rewind a little bit, zoom out, and then come back down in. Be more like a doctor, do a little bit of extra diagnosing. And that's, again, the first kind of way that you're really going to separate yourself to become a little bit more valuable than everyone else. Okay, number two. This one almost seems very surface level. It's just purely a matter of nomenclature. Developer versus engineer. Start using engineer. Start today. Do you have developer on your resume? Go ahead and switch it. Engineers make more money. There have been so many studies that have come out to show exactly this than developers. Developers sound very commodity. Engineers, clearly someone who's graduated, you've got all that experience and that knowledge under your belt, and you're leaping on to bigger things. For many of you, it could be just a matter of using this word, choose engineer, choose it every time. Okay, number three. Skills. Avoid commodity languages. Similar languages like PHP, for example, where there's just so many engineers out there, it's really hard to separate yourself, to really build a distinct name for yourself, okay? Choose higher impact, cutting edge technologies. Even technologies where, and I don't like this word, it's just used a lot of times, especially in kind of finances, technologies that have a moat around them. I think that Apple with iOS and Swift, that's a prime example. It costs $99 for that Apple developer membership. It weeds out a lot of developers who are less serious. And it's going to pull in those engineers, people like you, who are more focused on solving bigger solution problems, okay? So that's one example. Another one might be, Elixir. Ruby, while it's much less of a commodity, it's just been around for so long, there's so many engineers on there. Many of them have, again, graduated to the next level. They're building bigger distributed systems for their clients or at their companies, and they're using Elixir to do that. Much more of a standout programming language. If you're talking about being right on the machine, doing some more low-level stuff, Rust is another good one. Obviously, there's a ton of C++ and C engineers out there. Rust is much newer to the scene. It's probably a good choice, especially if you're going to become more of a standout engineer. The other thing that you can do is realize with a lot of these cutting edge technologies, some of them, they kind of come up and then they very quickly just disappear. Make sure that there are bigger companies behind them. If you've noticed that there's a lot of solid documentation and you're really able to see, okay, there's a lot of life being breathed into this new technology, maybe some big companies coming in like Google, Apple, etc. chances are it's going to be around a lot longer. That would be a good choice. Again, I think, Elixir, Jose Valim, obviously he's got his company there behind it. A lot of other big names jumping on board there. Rust, similar story. Swift, Apple. One final note, it's so impactful, and on impact, I would say this always: surround yourself with high impact individuals always. Take the nearest 10 people to you or whatever it is, add it up, divide by 10, and that's kind of the sum of like your core essence, that like a impact that you're going to have, right? Because you have all this cross-pollination of ideas, you have a lot of positive spillover, you have a lot of negative spillover. Just be sure that you're really surrounding yourself with a lot of high impact, high energy people. It's only going to bode you well in your career and for the things that you want to do, really getting you on the pace, riffing off these people, etc. Surround yourself with them. You're only going to rocket to much better places. Okay, so what do we have? Ask the right questions. Qualitative versus quantitative. And there's a time and a place for both. Just make sure that the right questions are coming up for the right time, like we talked about. Developer versus engineer. You're a standout engineer. You're going to use engineer. Switch that word on your resume if you haven't already by the end of this. Third one, skills. Pick much higher impact technology to drive your projects in the future. So awesome seeing you here today. Welcome back. See you on the next one. Ciao.